In this lesson, let's talk a little bit about running tests. Before, let's do a little preparation by removing everything from the body element. In here, we're gonna add h1 element, and also instead of including JavaScript file, we're gonna include CSS file. So whenever we are using Vite directive to include CSS or JavaScript files, we definitely have to keep Vite development server running, otherwise we're gonna get an error in the browser when trying to fetch those assets. Which means we're also going to get an error if we're gonna run tests that render this page. But the thing is that for some tests, we don't actually need to include CSS or JavaScript files in order to test something on the page. So now let's take a look how we can avoid keep Vite development server running while executing tests. So before that, since we are including CSS file instead of a JavaScript file from within our Blade template, we also have to update this entry point in Vite configuration file. As you can see, styles have been properly fetched. And now let's verify that this page is actually showing the proper title. And we're gonna do so by writing test case. So let's switch over back to the PHP Storm and open up example test inside of feature folder. So here I'm gonna change test description. And what this test is going to do is it's going to render our main Blade view, and we're going to assert that the title with the corresponding text is shown like so. And please keep in mind that currently in our Blade template, we are referencing Vite server in order to load our styles. So to avoid any errors, we firstly have to start development server and then run tests by using artisan test command. We'll also apply filtering to run only tests that are located inside feature folder like so. As you can see, test has passed. But what happens if we're going to stop Vite development server and run this test once again? This time it's failing, because that view that we are trying to render references Vite dev server to load styles. But that server is not available because we have stopped it. So in such cases, when it's not necessary to load styles or scripts, we can use method called without_vite in our test, which is going to prevent loading any styles or scripts. And this way, we don't need to keep our Vite server running during test execution. Let's rerun this test again, and sure enough it is passing, because our page no longer tries to load styles during the test execution. Another thing is that we can actually call without_vite method in the base test class, so it is going to disable Vite for all tests at the same time. To do this, we're gonna add setup method inside the parent class, and right here, firstly we're gonna call setup method of the parent class, and then call without_vite, just like we have done in the test. Let's make sure that this test is still failing if we're not gonna call without_vite method. It does, and now let's uncomment this line and rerun the test. This time it is passing. So as you can see, it is not necessary to keep Vite development server running for some tests that do not depend on assets generated by Vite, such as CSS and JavaScript files.